And we're bringing in former acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf. Appreciate you joining us, Chad. And let's jump in. Let's start with the possibility of military action in Mexico. I know we've spoken about this before. The Trump administration has designated several cartels foreign terror organizations. Elon Musk tweeting out, this means those groups can be targeted by drone strikes. And then we see Mexico's president saying the U.S. cannot invade her country's sovereignty. With where we are right now, what are the odds the U.S. will take military action in Mexico against the cartels?
Well, thanks for having me on. I don't think that we're really talking about the U.S. invading Mexico, and it appears thus far that President Sheinbaum and her administration actually want to work with the Trump administration to deal with some of the issues along that border, specifically with the cartels. And I think if they continue to be a willing partner, then I think this is going to kind of be, a little smooth, or smoother than I should say in the past. It's when the Mexican government doesn't want to be that partner, and these cartels continue their human trafficking, the illegal narcotics, and are affecting American lives, that I think President Trump and his team say, look, we've got to take some action. We'd rather do that in concert and in partnership with the Mexican government. But at the end of the day, they will likely continue to take action to address the threat along that border.
Yeah, cooperation, of course, is ideal. I'm interested in your specific insight on this. Is Musk correct? Does a foreign terrorist organization designation clear the way for the U.S. to target cartels with drone strikes in Mexico without it being an act of war?
Well, it clears the way to do a variety of different things, to prosecute, to go after those that are helping the cartels, to do a variety of different things. And if you recall, we actually, take out threats around the world using drones and others that are vital to the national security of the United States. And I think we've got to continue. We've got to stop treating these cartels, the cartel members, as simply a law enforcement issue. We've tried that for decades. It's not working. They are more similar to foreign terrorist organizations, as President Trump has designated. And so they look more like Al-Qaeda. They look more like ISIS than they do just a regular criminal organization. And because of that, you have to take extraordinary steps to deal with them.
Meanwhile, the Trump administration is directing ICE agents to track down unaccompanied migrant children and to deport them. What would an operation like that look like? And because they are children, is the U.S. obligated to handle these deportations with more care than with adults?
Well, I think it's important to remember that not all children are the same. I know in your reporting you talked about a 4-year-old, but the majority of quote children that come across that border are between 15 and 17 years of age, which are obviously military age in many of the countries that they come from. We also need to remember that over 300,000 of these children were misplaced or lost within the immigration system during the Biden administration. So I think the Trump team's got a couple of different options that they're trying to deal with. They're trying to first locate these children. Where are they? Because the vast majority of them are likely being human trafficked inside the United States. And then, as you indicated in your reporting, a number of them actually have deportation orders. They've been told by an immigration judge that you should no longer be here and that you need to be removed from the country. So in that aspect, the Trump team's actually just trying to enforce immigration law. So there's a couple of different things going on here. But again, that reporting that you mentioned about how the mother had come across and that the child came across and had the mother's phone number attached to her, just think about that for a minute, that mother had her child in the hands of cartel members. And we've got to stop this practice. We've got to stop these children being put in the arms of cartel members and smuggled across that border. And if we continue to do the same that we've been doing over the last 4 to 5 years, then you're going to continue to have these same disastrous results.
Chad Wolf, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.